Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. My name's Destiny. I do book things here, and today we're here for my April wrap-up. So before we go into the books I actually finished in April, I'm going to tell you about the one I'm currently reading now. I have about 100 pages, a little less than 100 pages left of it. No, a little more than 100 pages. Brain's doing math now. I have 120 or 118 pages left of this one, and that is Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novella to the Throne of Glass series. I have to finish Assassins of the Underworld, and then the Assassin and the Empire. So the Assassin and the Underworld, the Assassin and the Empire. That's the only two I have left. I can't wait to get that done. I am actually loving this. I love Selena already. And so I know the ending's not going to be a surprise to me because, again, I have finished up to Tower of Dawn. So that won't be a surprise to me, but I'm really excited to get into this. So I almost have this done. After this, my plan is to pick up Covet by Tracy Wolff. I have already started this one, as you can see. I am about almost 50 pages through this one. I just honestly put it down because I wanted to focus on this in my audiobooks, so that's that. But without further ado, let's get into what I actually finished this month. So I ended up finishing 10 things this month. I am actually gonna open my handy dandy bullet journal, which she is almost full, guys. Let me see. There's May. That's all I have left. So I'm probably going to fit May and a bunch of note pages and start a new one for this. So I'm excited for that. I may end up filming the setup for the beginning of my new one, but I digress. So I'm gonna start with what I most recently finished and go backwards. Some of these are audiobooks, so I will put them up beside my head, the ones that are audiobooks. So first, the last thing I have finished this month was Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. I dislike this. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. This is a famous romance, contemporary romance. So you have Pablo, he works in a bodega in New York. And then one night, she comes in, that's Lee. She goes by something else. Leanna. Leanna's smart. She's famous. She was like a kid actor. She makes music. She comes into his bodega and they kind of hit it off. He can't believe that he's talking to her because, again, she is famous, and they ended up having a relationship. I listened to the audiobook of this and it drug. I listened to it at 2 times speed, and it took me most of the month to finish this. I really disliked it. And honestly, it's not even like the tropes or anything. Those didn't bother me. It was just like the pacing was really slow. Some of it could have been cut out. It was kind of insta-lovey for me because you don't really see their chemistry at all, other than the fact that they both love snacks, and like mixing 2 snacks. That's the only thing that really drew them together. So it just wasn't for me. And usually I don't mind insta-love. There's a couple other books that are like insta-lovey. I would categorize Crave by Tracy Wolff as insta-lovey just because the 2 main characters in that kind of fall in love real quick. That didn't bother me. This one really bothered me, and honestly it really bugged me. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. If you've been watching my channel for a while or know me personally, I rarely give anything below 3 stars. Like, if I don't like it, it's just not my cup of tea, I'll give it 3 stars to, I know this is getting 2 stars. I was gonna give it 2.5, but the more I think about it, the more I want to give it 2 stars. Guys, I don't remember what happened the first half of the book, like, at all. And that doesn't happen very often, like, at all. Next thing I finished was I reread The Diviners. I got finished tabbing. I listened to this one as well, and I loved it so much. I did not like physically reading this. It was good. I think originally I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't anything to write home about for me, but it also wasn't just downright awful. So I didn't mind it at all. But when I listen to the audiobook, it's so good. And I have to thank Leanne at Literary Diversions, something like that. I know it's literary, it starts, the last word starts with the D. She was talking about how much she loved this series and suggested the audiobook. So I decided, why not pick up the audiobook for it and see, because I had gotten 100 pages into it for a reread and just could not get into it. Guys, this audiobook is so good. If you've never heard of the series, it's about Evie O'Neill. Evie lives in the 1920s. She is in Ohio with her parents. She does a trick and finds out that one of the popular boys has slept with his chambermaid and got her pregnant. Lets it be known at a party while she's drunk. This is a prohibition age, so they're not supposed to be drinking in the first place. And he tells her she's lying. She tells him she's right and pushes it. And so her parents sent her to New York to live with her uncle to get her out of trouble. And there's murders that start happening. And there's like all these offerings and everything. There's a creepy little song in this book. And like the song plays a part because it's not really a spoiler. The first murder, Evie uses her powers and hears the song. So the song is actually sang to you. And when they talk about like the characters singing, like they actually sing. It's so good. It's so atmospheric. Like it made the book itself more atmospheric and more enjoyable listening to it. I have Layer of Dreams checked out from the library right now, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and read it. So yeah, I got that. Next, I finished, my brain's going over, next I finished Stop Doing That Shit, and Self-Sabotage and Demand Your Life Back. This one was actually really good. It's a nonfiction. I read his other ones, which was Unfuck Yourself. Yeah. So Unfuck Yourself was, I'm trying to think, there's another line below it. Oh, no, it just says Unfuck Yourself. Like, it's not gonna tell me. Nope, doesn't tell me at all. But Unfuck Yourself is another self-help kind of book. And it's basically, there it is. It's about getting out of your own head. And how your thoughts do control what you do every day. Your thoughts are what's driving you, your unconscious thoughts. This is more about self-sabotage and how you are self-sabotaging yourself. The big message from this book I got was really interesting, was there are three saboteurs that's impacting you. It's what you believe about yourself, what you believe about people. What's the third one? Hold on. It's what you believe about yourself. That's it. Okay. It's about what you believe about yourself, what you believe people are, and what you believe life is. So you believe you are tired or you are stupid. You believe people are uncaring or boring. You believe life is a struggle. And when you boil it down to those three things, you prove yourself right in those three things every time. I'm not going to share what mine were, but it's true. I do it every time. Never fails. So that was super interesting. This one's a really good, quick little read. It was a 4-hour audiobook. It took me a little while to finish the audiobook because I just needed to sit down and make notes as I listened to it. So I spent one off day just relaxing in bed and finished listening to it and made notes in my long-term bullet journal. So I have them about this, and it opens your eyes to how your own brain works. They're really good. Plus they have cuss words in the titles, and that's really why I picked the first one up, was because it said to unfuck yourself, and I was like, huh? Like, you're just gonna put that word on the book title? Okay, I'm gonna read it. And so I did that. Next I finished Gideon the Ninth by Tison Munir. Guys, I loved this. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I gave The Diviner 5 stars as well. I don't usually rate nonfiction, so I gave this 5 stars. I need the next one. It's taking everything in me not to order the next one and just binge it. because if you know what happened at the end of this, I want more. But if you've not read this one, it's about Gideon, and Gideon is basically a ward of the ninth planet in the solar system. They get drawn into this creepy castle, and they're going to compete to become like top tier necromancers. She has to go protect and be like the bodyguard to her necromancer for the ninth planet. And that's kind of how it goes. It does, like the very first says, lesbian necromancers in a haunted gothic palace, and that's very true. Like, that's what this is. It's so good. The twist wasn't really a twist for me, I will give it that. Not that I saw it coming, but it kind of felt like it was convenient. Which I know we're reading fiction. I know like all of it's going to be convenient because it's a story, it's a fictional story. But normally it doesn't come off as convenient. This came off as like just really convenient way out of it. And then the ending broke my heart. Like, the very ending broke my heart, and I want more. I want more. So, there's that. I did finish that. Gave it 5 stars. Highly recommend if you've not read this. Then I finished Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I listened to this one as well. And guys, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it because I don't do classics very well. I'm not going to lie. I don't do classics very well. I had started reading it physically and just could not get into it. I loved listening to it. It was so good. And it's like a locked door mystery. So, and Then There Were None is about 10 people who get called to this island by someone. And none of the 10 seem to know each other, even though they're supposed to. Some of them are told, oh, it's your old friends getting together. There's one secretary that's called out to be a secretary to the person there. Like, these are the things happening. And then they all start dying. One by one by one. And there's this creepy little poem. It is, hold on, because it's like in the dedication, I know. It was like the first thing I read. That's what made me start the book in the first place. Okay, it is. 10 little soldier boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, then there were 9. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8. 8 little soldier boys traveling to Devon. One said he stayed there, and then there were 7. 7 little soldier boys chopping sticks. One chopped himself into halves, and then there were 6. 6 little soldier boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5. 5 little soldier boys going in for law. One got into chasery, and then there were 4. 4 little soldier boys out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. 3 little soldier boys walking to the zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. 2 little soldier boys sitting in the sun. One get frizzled up, and then there was 1. 1 little soldier boy left all alone. He went and hung himself, and then there were none. Guys, that's how they die. They start dying in the way of that little creepy poem, and you have no clue who's doing it. And they, like, Agatha goes as far as to describe, like, them searching the island, and there's no caves or anything anybody can hide in. And then they go and pace the house and measure the house out, and there's no hidden rooms or anything. So it's like, who is killing these people? So by the end of it, the police find them all dead. There's no way anybody could have got off this island. Someone on this island did it. Like, someone on this island had to have done it. And it's not until they get a confession that you find out who did it. Never saw it coming. I mean, I kind of could have seen it coming if I had paid more attention. But I didn't see it coming. It was that good. I loved it. I loved it so much that next I picked up The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. And I did not end up listening to the whole book. I thought it was the whole book. Really, it was a BBC rendition of it. And so it was just like 4 hours of them giving like the highlight kind of the story. I did meet Perot, like it did all of that. It gave you the murders, told you about the it told you about the people killed, but it didn't go into very much detail. Like you didn't get much detail background on Perot, on the people murdered, on the town, like none of that. It was very to the point. This is who died, this is how it happened, on to the next one, and on to the next one. But I really enjoyed it. Our goal is to go back and listen to the whole thing because it was that good. But I ended up giving it 5 stars too because the ending of it I didn't see coming as well. What else? And then I ended up reading the last 2 in the Wayward Children series. So I read Where the Drowned Girls Go and In an Absent Dream. Oh no, I finished 3. Excuse me. There's one more in here. And I also finished Across the Green Grass Fields. So we're going to take them in the order I read them backwards. So I finished Where the Drowned Girls Go, which is the newest one out of the series. I am super sad that I have no more to listen to because I love these little books. Where the Drowned Girls Go follow, can't think of her name now. She's the mermaid. I'll put it across the screen. She decides after the events of one of the previous books that she is going to go to the other school. So there's 2 different schools. There's Miss Westbourne's, I think, House for Wayward Children, where like the children are waiting on their doors to come back. They want their door to come back. And then there's the other school where these children just want to get it over with. They don't want to remember what happened. They don't want to acknowledge it happened. They just want to go back and live in this world. And so she ends up going to go to that school, and that the events happen there. That was the most interesting one of all. I give it 5 stars. It's in a tie with Jack and Jill's story, which was my favorite. And I mean the 3 that include Jack and Jill. I happen to love the twins, but this one was really, really good. And I'm happy I read them in order because this one does introduce characters that you meet in the previous books. So if you've read, you could read it as a standalone. It would spoil the first one, I think the 3rd. Yes, there are spoilers in them. I'm not going to act like there isn't. But if you only are interested in one, like, because I said this is my favorite, this is the one you want to pick up, you could. And you wouldn't be lost at all. Shawnee McGuire does a really good job of summarizing what happened in other books where you're not left going, wait, what? I missed something here. You don't feel that way in any of these. And the next one I finished was Across the Green Grass Fields, which is number 4. Yeah, number 4 in the series. And this follows Reagan. This is a whole nother, this one is definitely a standalone. You can pick it up and not read any of the rest of the series and not be lost, not miss any information, not have any spoilers. This is the one you want to pick up if you want to give them a try and not read the first one. This is the one you want. Reagan is, I'm trying to think what would be, they're so tiny. Reagan ends up going through a door, of course, into her world. This does have representation for intersex, which is a very, something you don't very often see. I will say that one thing with these books is they're very diverse and very good at representation. Shawnee McGuire writes that really well. Reagan's story was super interesting to me. Because with the Wayward Children, a lot of them are meant to be heroes. Like, they go to these worlds and the people in these worlds expect these children to save the world. They don't always go to a world where humans are prevalent. So they expect them to be a hero and to be, like the savior. And for Reagan, she didn't want that. She did not want to be the savior. She found where she felt at home, and she did not want to go beat the big bad. She wanted to stay where she was at, which is super interesting for the stories itself. And then the last one I read, which is number 5, I read them out of order. Number 5, which is Lundy, that's her name. Lundy's story. And Lundy, if you are wondering where she fits and you've read some of the rest of them, she's the psychologist. She runs a group therapy for the children at the school. It's her story where she went. So she went through a door where it's logic based, where the price of fair and what is a just price is a big thing there. And so that's where Lundy ended up. And you go through her story. That was my least favorite out of all the ones I've read so far. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and that's just because I didn't really resonate as much as Lundy. I think if I read it again now, in the mindset I'm in, I probably would give it 5 stars, because I really did enjoy myself and I really loved it, but my brain really likes the whimsical, nonsensical worlds more than the logical based world. So the ones that have like mystical creatures and stuff is my favorite over the ones that are more like, you know, our day-to-day life. But I did enjoy that one as well. The only thing I have left to talk to y'all about, as I'm looking, I have 2 more. And one's an audiobook and one's a physical, so we're going to go to the audiobook first. And that is Werewolf Girls by Lori Powers. I finished this one. I read this one in a day. I have questions. I'm giving this one 5 stars because it left me with questions, and I'm not even mad that I have questions. So I read Burn Our Bodies Down by Lori Powers, which is a speculative fiction, I think is how they classify these. Basically, it has almost paranormal, it's set in the real world, but it has like a paranormal vibe through it that you're kind of unsure about. The Wild Girls is about an island of girls who end up with a disease that runs rapid. They're put into quarantine at the school. They can't go home. They have not spoken to their parents in so many years, and now food's being very scarce. They are not finding anything they need anymore, and so the story kind of picks up where they're ravenous. So many of them have died. They are having like extra bones, you know, growing in their bodies. Some of them start just like hallucinating and freaking the fuck out. And so our story picks up with our main character, and her best friend goes missing one night. Basically, her best friend has a flare-up of the disorder, or of the disease, and she starts losing her fucking mind. And they take her to the infirmary. Well, our main character goes to find her in said infirmary, make sure she's okay, make sure she doesn't need anything, and finds out the floor that they've been calling the infirmary is completely fucking empty. And it's like, what happened to her? It kind of goes from there. It does have LGBT rep. Our main character is gay, and so that's a thing. So that is like, or the rep. I love this. It left me with questions though. Like the ending left me with questions. So many fucking questions. And the way it ends off is on a cliffhanger, so she could write a sequel if she wanted. I don't know if she will, or if that's like something she meant to do, but it's totally possible, and I would definitely read it. Totally would read it because it was that good. So the first thing I finished this month, the last thing we're going to talk about is Crush by Tracy Wolf. My beautiful tabbed edition. She got all the tabs. I read the last 300 pages of this in a day. I did that with Crush too. It usually takes me a minute to get into them, but once I get like 100 pages in, your girl is hooked and needs the rest. So I'm not gonna hold this up because this one is a heavy book. It is like, I think we're at 684. Comes in at 684. I did physically read and finish this month. If you don't know anything about this series follows Grace. Grace's parents have died in a car accident, and now she's go live with her uncle and cousin in Alaska, and shit starts happening. That's all I'm gonna give you. This is a sequel to Crave. So I don't, obviously this picks up at the end of the events of the first book. I went into Crave, which if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know I went into Crave not knowing a damn thing. Your girl went in blind as a motherfucker, and I loved it. It made it worth it for me. I think if you don't go in blind and you actually read the inside cover, you won't enjoy it as much, because you will find Grace very dumb, and you will see her as like very naive, which I think that's what Tracy was going for. Where when I went into it blind as a motherfucker, I didn't know what was going on. I started picking up on the hints going, is this what this is? Is this what this is? I did not read the inside cover to Crave until 200 pages in. Literally 200 pages in. And I loved it so much. So much. So yeah, this one I am giving 5 stars, guys. I enjoyed this so much. By the end of it, I just wanted the next one, which I promptly ordered. Or the next 2. Your girl ordered the next 2 as soon as I finished that one. So it was good. Tracy's pacing sometimes gets me. I think that's why I can't get into the first 100 pages very well. It's because her pacing's off for me personally. But usually once I overcome the pacing, we're good to go. So that's everything I read this month. I read 11 things, which I am super proud of myself. It is April the 27th when I'm filming this, so I may be able to finish Assassin's Blade, which means I read 12 things this month, which is my goal of every month right now. Just to see if I can actually reach it, which I have been, and I'm really proud of that. Yeah, so that's everything I have read this month so far. I have a haul coming up too, so you'll see that, and then I also have a TBR, so I will see y'all in my next video. I will leave videos here for you, and subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.